Hello and welcome. My name is Azman Abdurrahman. I am a safety and health consultant and facilitator. In this presentation, I will share with you a technique on how to identify hazard. Hazard identification is one of the most important aspects of occupational safety management. This is definitely an essential skill for all safety professionals to have. To achieve this, I will take you to one of the oil palm plantations in Malaysia and use one of the activities as an example. Malaysia is one of the largest palm oil exporters. In 2020, Malaysia accounted for 25.8% of world palm oil productions and 34.3% of world palm oil exports. The fruit yields two distinct oils. Palm oil derived from the outer parts of the fruit, that is fruit flesh, and palm kernel oil derived from the kernel. One of the work activity that can be found at the oil palm plantation is harvesting the fruit. First, let us look how the workers perform the task. During the harvesting season, the plantation workers cut the fronds and fruit bunch by using a long metal pole with a sickle at the end. The workers hook the fruit stalk and pull hard the pole to cut the stalk. This will bring down the fruit branch to the ground. The worker also needs to cut down fronds in order to have a clear view of the fruit bunch on top of the tree. The worker then pick up and carry the fruit bunch to the roadside for collection. Later, the fruit bunches will be collected and loaded into a lorry. All fruit branches will be delivered to a mill for the oil extraction process. This is done by another worker. Besides that, the workers need to set aside the fronds. The worker cut between 70 and 100 trees in a day. There are 3 to 4 fruit bunches per tree. To prevent injuries and illnesses from happening, it is important to identify hazard and assess the risk of tasks that are going to perform. There are various methods to identify hazard in the workplace. The most common is to observe the work being performed by the worker. Observe the element involved in performing the task. What are the tools or equipment used to perform the task? What materials or substances does the workers come into contact with? Look at the environmental conditions such as heat, cold, strong wind that may influence the task performance. And we may also need to look how the workers perform the task in terms of his or her posture. And then you need to determine appropriate ways to eliminate the hazard or control the risk. Now let's take a look at hazard that can be identified in this task. Falling object is one of the hazards for this task. Fronds, loose fruits, and debris are the most common objects that falls from the tree and can strike the worker's head and body that cause serious or even fatal injuries. Falling debris also can cause eye irritation and pain. To prevent this from happening, keep a safe distance of at least 3 meters from the tree. In addition, wear safety helmet and safety glasses to protect from injury caused by falling of loose fruits and debris. The tools used in this task is a long pole, weight approximately 5 kilos and 20 feet long. The risk is when the workers need to move the pole from one tree to another. The risk becomes higher when the workers use force to pull hard the pole to cut the fruits. This may cause sprain and strain especially to the arms and shoulder. Worker may trip and fall when moving from one location to another. Tall grass, fronds, and even fruit bunch that are lying on the ground are the potential things that can cause trip and fall. Potential injury is cut and scratches. To prevent this, make sure the tall grass is cut before the workers start working, and also fronds and fruits bunch are put aside. Worker exposed to sharp thorn when removing the fronds. Also, the worker may step on the sharp thorn. All this may cause puncture and abrasion to the hands and legs. Make sure the workers hold the branch at the middle or end of the branch where the fronds are long. Use of gloves provide extra protection to the hands. Wearing rubber shoes may prevent from injury of stepping on the sharp thorn. Worker also exposed to high level of sun, which can result in skin cancer, heat exhaustion, and dehydration. Besides that, there is a possibility of snakes and insect bites, especially mosquitoes. To prevent from heat exposure and dehydration, the workers needs to drink plenty of water. Snakes and insects needs to be destroyed or removed first before the workers start working. Another hazard types that exists in this task is ergonomic hazards. Ergonomic hazards occur when the types of work, body position, and working condition put a strain on the muscle, joints, and nerve. Prolonged or frequent exposure can result in serious musculoskeletal disorder or MSD. Ergonomic hazard identified for this task includes awkward posture. Awkward posture is where posture or body parts that deviate significantly from the natural posture while the task is being performed. There are two postures that deviated. Head bend backward occur when the worker has to look up the top of the tree each time when he hooks up the fruits. This posture causes stress on the neck and shoulder. The task performed requires arm to be extended forward when holding the pole. To get a good grip of the pole, the workers need to extend his arm at 45 degrees. This posture has the greatest impact on the arm, shoulders, and upper back. If you decide to carry out a more advanced risk assessment for these activities, you can use postural assessment tools such as REBA. You may refer to my previous video. Force are required when the workers pull the pole to cut down the fruit bunch and fronds. Greater force is required if blunt sickle is used. This can cause sprain and strain to the muscle and joint of the hand. Sickle should be maintained sharp so that undue force is not required to cut the fruit stalk. Another ergonomic hazard is when the worker lifts the fruit bunch from the ground and carry it to the roadside. This is called manual handling hazard. The worker bends forward to pick up the fruit from the ground. Prolonged or frequent manual handling activities with high amount of force can cause fatigue and strains to the lower back. The weight of a fruit bunch is approximately 25 kilos. If we refer to the safe lifting zone chart, the workers have lifted more than the limits. Carry distance from the trees to the roadside is less than 10 meters, so the risk is considered medium. The use of wheelbarrow may further reduce the risk of carrying. The worker needs to learn proper lifting technique to prevent lower back pain by squatting, and hold the fruit bunch close to the body. All identified hazard needs to be controlled, especially the high-risk hazard. PPE should always be used as a last line of defense and is an acceptable control method when engineering or administrative control cannot provide sufficient protections. PPE suggested for performing this task includes This brings me to the end of my presentation. Don't forget to like the video and you may leave any comments. I wish you all the best. Thank you and see you again.